of the adversary and put it back in yours.
Exactly.
You got to do it by paperwork,
diplomacy. That don't
not
have
by mouth, not
diplomacy.
by words.
That's giving
Right.
us sovereign right. That's giving us sovereign right, and we have to handle ourselves like sovereigns.
No, it takes them away. It takes them away.
Man, I'm trying to get a point here, and
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
You're right.
you got it right
You're
next.
right.
You got. I'm just. You got it,
Because
bro. You got it right next, and then we can keep on stirring it around. I'm saying that certain people have to get diplomacy, but people of this land don't have to get diplomacy because it's our stuff. So all we have to do is grab the sovereign right of our stuff and quit giving it to the government that has sovereign authority over it. Go ahead, Sacred Grove, and then just keep going around, though. Y'all just keep going around.
and basically, you just say the same thing I'm gonna say. Like, we don't need to. We just gotta act like we supposed to act. Like the government, we supposed to be taking care of ourselves and our families, and we need to operate like this. Take some burden off this government. You know what I mean? Like, start doing shit for ourselves as a people, and then they'll start to be like, okay, good. Now we will start using these funds. The federal government start funding all the different groups what they need. That's how the government's supposed to be running since from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, supposed to be everybody supposed to have their own representatives in that thing, and you can have your own representative represent the national side of the thing. But we gotta do this thing local. We gotta start operating as a people like that. You know what I mean? If we want to act like we sovereign, we gotta start doing shit for ourselves, growing your own food and doing shit like that, like small shit.
Next. Well, that's what I was trying to.
Can I ask a question?
It's just about respect. You know, I ain't trying to run shit. I just don't want to over talk.
Oh no, y'all had me muted, bro. Let me say something real quick. If you have a baby and for 3 days you don't sign that birth certificate, that baby is now a diplomat. Now you could take your state rights and you can go and get power of attorney over that baby that is now a diplomat. And now you are now a ambassador of the diplomat. Now check this out. If you get pulled over with the baby, wherever the baby's residency resides is now your embassy in America. And now you're now a diplomat. So if you get pulled over with the baby don't have to have words with the cop. You don't have to have words. Like Nadi said, he can't give you a charge. He can give you a citation. He could tell you got to come to court. He could tell you a whole bunch of shit, but he can't give you a charge. He can't put you in cuffs. He could just tell you, look, we wrote you up for this. Take it back to your embassy and then let your embassy handle it. But embassy is a baby. And now you have power attorney over the baby. So now you get on the phone and you handle all your business over baby.
By mail is
there's so many things wrong with that. I don't even know where to start.
No, you don't understand, bro. Let him start. Let you start. Because in the hospital, they call you mommy, daddy, baby. And they call you that for a reason. Because if baby is not a part of the corporation, if you don't sign baby over, baby is still baby.
A baby is a baby, regardless of whatever certificate is signed. I don't know where you're getting this idea that signing or not signing a birth certificate somehow changes the legal status of a child, but there isn't. The child is going to be a natural born citizen to the parents, regardless of whether a birth certificate is signed or not. And the fact that their birth certificate isn't signed doesn't suddenly make that child like nationless or part of some other national entity by which you can therefore claim to be an ambassador to and somehow get this sort of diplomatic immunity. That's not how any of this works. And I have not seen anybody recognize this as as a lawful authority by anybody. So
you haven't seen it tried because
let me take a step back real quick because I tried to say something but I was muted and I didn't know that. But like I'm pretty ignorant.
No, Root, keep muting me too, bro. Root, I'm coming over here, bro. Mute me again.
I'm about to mute everybody. I'm not doing that over here. When you talk, you're going to talk. And then when the next person talk, they're going to talk. We're not going to keep saying, yeah, inside they shit and no and all that shit. No, let the man talk. And then you'll be able to talk. Go ahead, Artie.
No, we ain't cut nobody off, Root.
I thought Artie was done.
I finished my point. I think I said what I needed to say.
I didn't even hear what you
Squid, I'm
said.
after you.
Oh,
Okay,
but
Okay.
Squid, I'm after you.
oh,
okay.
but
Bro, you doing that.
all right,
No, actually,
I'll
yo,
keep it
Root.
concise. I'll keep it
Right.
concise. The long and short of it is, I have never seen this sort of idea of a child who isn't a part of the parents who do not sign a birth certificate to their newborn child suddenly becomes nationless or part of a separate nation than the country that he or she was born in, and by which the parents can therefore claim ambassadorship and obtain diplomatic immunity. I had never heard of this theory before, and I have yet to see anything coming even close to recognize this as valid. That's all I gotta say.
And yo, Root, let me go because I tried to speak, but I was muted on 2 mics. I got 2 mics here, so I got 2 mute buttons. So I got skipped over, but no beef or nothing. I'm really kind of ignorant into this type of shit. But my 2 cents is like this, and I'm not trying to go left. On the topic that y'all speaking of, with my brain, the way I think is think about documentation. Like when they put the baby's footprint on that piece of paper, when that baby is registered with a social security number, that's the end of the spectrum that sovereignty would be at the opposite end of, right? So it's like a matter of being documented in this country or in the system, and you know what I'm saying, whether or not a person deems that as a valid thing, right? And another thing I wanted to say is that you know, when you put these papers up, you know, and these words, and you start warring with these things, you know, there's a lot of language that says under God, in the name of God. And when you go to Asia, they claim to be celestial vessels from heaven, you know, put and appointed by the Most High in their own words, right? And I think that's kind of left from where y'all going to.
Yo,
But
yo, yo.
when y'all was talking about the word plays and things,
What's up?
that's it came across my mind. So if y'all want to
Well,
touch on that,
well,
that would be interesting.
well. Here I go. What I'm
Hold
saying
on, let
is,
me just say, can anybody defend what he said? He asked the question, already asked the question. He said, can anybody prove if the diplomacy stuff worked? And I will look up anything you want to, or I will let you scream.
right now, this is where I go. That's where I'm saying where people were undereducated. I was smart enough to say, "Don't hit my baby." They got me on camera. Don't hit my baby. If you smack my baby, I'm gonna smack you. All the doctors in the room, everybody just looked at me crazy. They was on camera. They all just looked at me crazy, like, "What? You gonna smack?" Like, yeah. If you smack my baby, I'm gonna smack you. 100. You know what I'm saying? And when my baby got born, nobody smacked my baby. Now, if I decided to not sign that um, birth certificate for 3 days, after 3 days, if I decided to name my son Kowalczyk, that's Irish. That's Irish or Russian, German, Russian. That's what that name come from. When I put that name on that child, it's almost like being emancipated or filing to change your name. I could name that baby Shakur. I could name that baby Washington, as in, you know, Denzel Washington. That don't make them related to that person. I can name them
Where is the
Selassie.
diplomacy at, bro?
Like what I'm saying is, once the baby after 3 days is no longer an American citizen, that baby gets diplomacy, because after 3 days, the baby has to be nationalized. You get nationalized papers. They look like a dollar bill, except they're really big and they have signatures in them saying that you're a nationalized citizen. So
Where is the
once you're a national
passport? Like if you
I'm
like
sorry?
when you have diplomacy, you have a passport and you have diplomacy papers. So if
Right.
us
And
at birth,
that
so if us at birth, brother, like Artie was saying, if we went through diplomacy, where's the proof of our diplomacy at?
Let me get in whenever I
proof
can.
is after 3 days, you are no longer a state citizen. You would have to be a nationalized citizen. Therefore, you would only have to carry a passport. Therefore, there's your diplomacy.
So according to you, birthright citizenship isn't a thing?
After 3, you don't have to sign the birth certificate for 3 days.
No. I'm not talking about birth certificate. I'm talking about birthright citizenship. Like the
Birthright
moment you are born,
citizenship,
you
okay.
are a citizen of the United States. That's been established for a long time now. Are you saying that that's not a thing?
No. You don't sign the birth certificate until after baby is born.
I don't. Okay, I feel like I'm repeating myself because I'm saying, regardless of whether a birth certificate is signed, if you are born, physically born in the United States within the territorial boundaries of the United States, you are a citizen of the United States. It does not matter whether you sign something or not.
Yes, it does. If your birth certificate is not signed, you are not a citizen of the United States.
Oh no. Okay.
Listen,
dude, the hospital can't sign it.
Hold on, bro.
How else can you prove that? Go ahead, Nadi. I just said, how else can you prove that? So, if a person is born in a cave in America and they don't have what you would call documentation, it's your word versus the people who's asking for it. So
exactly.
It's like, Go ahead, Nati.
And what makes you a citizen, brethren, is when a child is born and you name that child and sign that birth paper, the hospital in turns it notifies the vital statistics, and the vital statistics put it in the paper as a public announcement. If no one steps up to that claim, you become a citizen because no one is claiming it. No, it's a ward of the state.
No, that's not how this works. But okay, go on.
It does work like that. That's exactly how it works.
Just rebut him, Artie. Let him build. Just rebut him, Artie.
That's exactly how it works. Every death and every birth in a hospital in any city is going to be announced once a week, 4 times in a month, to be known for somebody to come up and hold claim. If you don't hold claim to that, it goes to be a ward of the state. The state in turns turn these documents down to the government and the federal government, and that's when you can in turn fill out for a social security card. Once they have the documents that now that this person is a ward of the state, we're letting you know what we asking for compensation when we ask for grants from you is to cure and maintenance this ward of the state we have. Now the government, when your parents go down and fill out a birth certificate, that makes you a federal agent of the government now, because you have a federal number dealing with the agency of this government. You're not seen as a person, you're seen as a number. You can laugh all day. You can laugh all day because this is what puts you in the federal arena. The only way you'll be able to deal in commerce. And next thing, when you're
hold that next thing.
Yeah, hold up. For your parents to even get a birth certificate to return to them, to have that right, they have to be officers of the court because the birth certificate is an official court document. Understand the law. You have to understand the law to know what's going on.
I think I understand a lot more than you do at this point.
Now go ahead. Okay. Just rebut him.
Rebut it. Yeah, rebut that.
Yeah, how can I rebut 5,000 bits of nonsense? Because the first thing I'm going to say here is where do you get this idea that that birth announcements is some sort of constructive notice of a lost asset that somebody has to claim? So your entire initial premise is faulty to start off with. So you're going to have to prove that claim first before we can even get anywhere beyond the other nonsense that you've spoken of earlier. So please provide to that where this idea of a notice in the paper of somebody's birth is a recognition. Please claim this, or else we're going to consider a human being as property and as chattel, for which we're going to manipulate on the seedy side. So please provide that.
Okay. First of all,
you just said a whole bunch of shit, bro. Go ahead.
It don't matter. Okay. So first of all, if it's your property and your building or your entity, what you created, who's the next person to announce a public announcement for your property? Not no one. you're giving that right for someone else to make an announcement now for your so-called supposed to be property. How they do that? How they announce your property? That's for one. And a public announcement is an announcement for anyone to come hold contestant to a claim that has been put forward, whether it be a death or a life. That's what an announcement is, a public announcement.
Now
It's
all you did was repeat your claim and didn't back it up. So I'm gonna have to ask you to please back it up.
Okay. So if I go in
or an ID.
Hold on, Bridget. If I go and run for elected official, and I put it in the public paper, I'm running for elected official. Believe you me, anyone in contesting of that can come up and hold a public official and put up their contestant to what I made an announcement. If I don't make an announcement, no one can hold a contest or come up to hold a claim on it. If there's not a claim or contest against my announcement, my declaration, or my proclamation that I'm giving to the public, it stands forth. That's the rule of law.
Okay, you again, all you did was declare your claim, assume it as fact, and didn't back it up. Because all you're doing is right now all you're doing is conflating. All you're doing is conflating a constructive notice for, say, lost property or a foreclosed property or an unclaimed land or unclaimed tangible goods that's put into the paper. You're conflating that with the birth of a human being. Now, I'm not about to go out here and say that if I had children, that I'm going to consider them my property. I hope to God nobody here thinks of that. But that's not. But you're conflating two separate things.
Your wife is the same circumstance. If you get married, they ask right before you proclaim your marriage. They ask, does anyone contest this claim? They're asking anybody.
No, they're contesting what the marriage.
If you don't contest it,
not the claim. There's no claim. There's no property claim. You keep
the claim. No. The claim is the pronouncement, the proclamation. The proclamation is the pronouncement. I pronounce you husband and wife, because without that claim, he can pronounce you that. But if somebody claims that they shouldn't be married, he cannot pronounce you husband and wife.
Hey, but let's go back to wife and let's go back to child. And let's not stick to let's go back to the birth certificate and
right. So okay, so in an announcement,
that was an example.
No, but in a birth announcement, they announce who the parents are. So it's not as if they're putting it into the paper. Here's some random baby that was born here in a hospital. Anybody want to claim it? They announce the parents that are there too. Why would the parents have to reclaim their child?
Bro, you could have two illegal immigrants as parents.
Oh, for fuck!
You can have two illegal immigrants as parents that can't legally sign over their child. They can't even answer the doctor as to what their name is. They got John Doe and Jane Doe.
What are you?
Child.
I'm saying
my birth certificate has my name on it. It's not John Doe.
No. You just gave up the explanation that the parents could be totally. The parents could. Oh, go ahead, Root. My bad.
No, I'm just trying to get it back to. We was on the conversation of putting the kids in the birth certificate. Right, and that's where I'm at. Hold on, bro. I'm trying to say, God damn, man, you get to talk, bro. You gotta chill. Damn, everybody gets to talk over here, man. Everybody. Not just me and you, everybody. The white people, the black people, the migrants, the Indians, everybody, bro. We all do. Homie, just slow down a little bit. I'm just trying to say, when we get to the birth certificates, they put the names in a capital letter. So they take it out regular, natural English letters. They put everything in capital letters, which means it's a corporation. And then they put it in the newspaper as a fictitious business, which is in all capital letters. And they put it and that's what you call the publications required. So I'm not going against Naughty. I'm just trying to keep building on it. That's all.
That's what Naughty's saying. Naughty's saying is,
I'm not saying
in the public domain. What I'm saying
that you come off the end of that. I'm just trying to say that's a good deal. I would tell Naughty the same thing if you was building off of it and Naughty tried to come off your back. I say let him build off what he built off, Naughty. Yeah, that's what Naughty is saying. Their build, bro. That's all. No disrespect.
Listen, all I'm saying is when he asking if the parents were already known, right? Like say my name is Jordan Smith, and then my girl is Wendy Snow, and they know Jordan Smith and Wendy Snow about to have a baby tonight. Okay, that's cool, but we don't have to name that baby for 3 days. We don't have to sign no papers for 3 days. We don't even have to meet baby for 3 days, and that makes baby a natural citizen. He said, why not? I'm telling you now, I could take two immigrants. I could take John and Jane Doe. They're gonna take pregnant mommy in because mommy's about to have baby, and they're gonna take daddy because mommy said that's daddy. Now, mommy and daddy of unknown origin or names are about to have
Hey man, what does that make
They're
us?
gonna deliver.
Where does
They're
that
gonna
the shit we talking about, homie? That don't have
what
nothing.
what yes it do. Yes it do. Yes it do. What he's asking, root.
No, you, bro. I'm trying to like tell you, let them build. I'm not going to cut them off. I'm just going to give resources and references. Let them build, and you got the next build, bro. You just went somewhere left, man, and it's throwing the conversation off. That's
No,
all.
Artie,
Yes.
I think I kind of showed you which way I was going on that when RootWords helped pull it up. That's the site I'm trying to give you. So if the next question you had on whatever I'm talking about as far as the parents being able to even obtain a birth certificate, they have to be officers of the court. So being an officer of the court isn't something that's just given away. It's something that you're already indoctrinated in, being the court is a branch extension of the federal government. So now you to be an officer of the court, you're gonna be a federal agent or agency of the federal government by way of the application you put in and the number they given you. Now this number is a special agent number that no one has authority or right to even ask you for. This
Uh,
is what's actually putting you in this capacity. Yes, go ahead.
okay. So okay? No, I don't. Yes, a birth certificate can be used to establish identity in a court of law. That does not mean that you have to be an officer of the court in order to sign it or to have it on you. I don't know where you're getting that idea from. The second point I wanted to say is where you're registered with is with the state and not the feds. You're born within the state of Texas. You sign your registration or your birth certificates with Texas. You'll eventually get a federal social security number, but your birth certificate and who you handle with in terms of your personal identity and your birth certificate, that's at the state level and not the federal level. So I'm not sure where you're getting this idea that the parents have to somehow turn into federal officers or federal agents in order to do anything with regards to their child after birth. So I again, this is you're saying making a lot of claims and declarations about how things actually work, even though conventional wisdom says that that's not how it works. So I would like you to provide, more than just your position or more than just your claims that on how things work here.
Okay, check this out. I like how you try to confuse the situation and throw it from what it's actually being as the parents controlling the child or something on the child. Listen to my words. To receive official court documents for that such said entity, you have to be an officer of the court. I'm not saying nothing about the child and the parents doing anything with the child. And again, to receive a social security card, you have to apply for it. It's not just given to you. So if you don't apply for it, it would never be given to you, and you would never be able to access any federal benefits, which is benefited to a federal employee.
I'm going to tell you right now, at no point did I ever sign an application for my SSN. But I'm going to also say that, again, I do not need to be a federal officer or an agent or a federal agent to receive any sort of federal documentation. I am not a federal agent, but I still get my W-2, every year before filing to pay taxes. So I don't know where you're getting this idea that in order to receive or handle a birth certificate, which again is a state document, not a federal one, that you have to be a federal agent in order to manipulate or have it on you. I don't understand where you're getting this idea from.
It's a state document, but it's a
Let me ask
court.
a question, yo.
It's not even a state document. It's a court document.
It's a federal document. They issue it to you from each state that you're from. But listen, if you go to apply for this military, they're going to ask you for your birth certificate. It's a federal document. In order for you to be a federal entity in this government, you're going to need your birth certificate and social, not your ID. You will never join the military without that shit.
It is not a federal document, bro. It is a trust. It is a contract. It's a piece of paper.
It's a bond.
But
it's a bond.
But the trust in the bond goes through the district, which is a part of the corporation.
Hey man, look, you're wrong, bro. You're just wrong.
I have my mouth muted on their end. Oh my god.
Hey, look, bro, hold on. I don't want to.
What the fuck is happening here?
Because they're building good, and every time you come in, you take
Jesus.
So man, you done prove me.
You're
wrong
right, guys. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this to myself?
Just right now, they're building.
Damn it, Andrew, shut up. I already said that.
Something, and it's easy to prove you wrong. The birth certificate is not a federal government thing. It's just not, brother. That's all, man.
No.
It's not, bro. You saying things that's throwing it off, and they're building on this though, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying?
Root, all I'm saying is, bro.
Can I say something, Root?
The nigga Natty, right? The nigga Natty, he let me go for a reason. If I was really cutting him off and fucking him up, bro, he'd tell me I was fucking him up, Root. That's what I'm saying.
All right,
what I'm saying is, bro. One second, Red. All I'm saying is, bro, when I say something, bro, just like I said in the chat, when I say something, I speak facts. If you can look it up, prove me wrong. I say I'm wrong. What I'm telling you is, you in all caps, because guess what? Your birth certificate is delivered to you by whatever state hospital gave birth to you. But that state hospital still answers to the Fed. Just like I said to you earlier, when all states go under a national or go under a state emergency, the Fed can take over. The Fed can take over the documents that the state has. The Fed cannot take over the laws.
No, man, let's just get back to the subject. No, bro, you can't switch it up. No,
listen, Root.
But you cut it
Root, hold on, Envy. I got you, Envy. I think what Envy is saying. Is some legitimacy in that, because
you got the floor next. Look, man, I'm just saying, man, you're wrong, bro. It has nothing to do with the feds. It goes directly to a bank. It's a bank object, bro. It's not nothing to do with it.
It does have
Root. All right, so check. Let me just say this, right? Like, what is the argument when we know that states is connected to the feds?
No, it's not.
So what's the point of going back and forth? Like, yo, listen, the system got tentacles. Does it not? So, I mean, it's like, what does it matter? What does it matter? Like, really? Like, you know, the feds, like what he said, the feds can control the state if they want to.
Don't need to be up here. There's just certain people. I don't think y'all two need to be up here because y'all don't know shit the fuck about law, and y'all don't know even where to look it up at. Y'all saying the state and the federal government is the same, and their corporate and their government country. This is fucking corporations, man. The bank is a corporation.
I'm not. Hold on, Envy. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not saying. I'm trying to ask a question. I'm trying to ask a motherfucking question, yo, for real. You feel me?
It's just not y'all's conversation, man. I apologize, man. Please, Artie and Roster, build. Please build. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, I would like to go to where you're saying again, you're claiming that a birth certificate is a court document, and I'm saying that it is not. It can be used in a court of law to establish identity, and it's a strong piece of evidence to establish one's identity in a court of law. But a birth certificate, in and of itself, it's not a court record. It is it's a state record.
It's actually a certificate receipt, and it's a bond informed as, which is embedded in the Treasury Department, not the state treasury, but the federal treasury, which in turn is used as a financial tool to be used under, or a financial instrument to be used on the stock market and other stock entities of different countries. when you go and apply for a light company in your state, and that light company is company is in Colorado, 15 states away from you. Once you put your social security number in, for that state to be able to even have your numbers embedded in their file under their state sanction, they have to be connected to the state that you're in, which is connected through commerce by way of approval of the federal government. So every state law, every state regulation falls under federal guidelines and regulations. They can go and do their own thing, but it has to meet up to these guidelines. And if the feds come in and say, we're gonna build you a road coming through here called I-10, but we're gonna only regulate that this road you can only drive up to 80 miles an hour on it. The state is gonna give a regulation up to that point and not past that point. Not because they want to do their own thing and they can do their own thing. It's because they under a certain guideline they can't cross. The mother and father, if we gonna go to that, um, it's hard to explain to you when you're not really opening your mind on how you receive an official, even state document. Is if you want to put it as state, you have to be an employee of that entity to receive any official documents.
No, you do
That's
not. You do not.
okay.
I don't know. Again, you are making this claim constantly about in order to receive anything official from any government agency, you have to be an employee of this agency. I do not understand where you got this idea from. And I want, and I know you kind of went off on to a lot of different things, but I want to go back to the first point that you mentioned there is I would need you to provide evidence that a birth certificate is somehow a financial instrument as a bond that is somehow sold on some exchange somewhere. Again, I hear this a lot. I hear this claim a lot.
Well,
I have yet to see any evidence substantiating it. The fact that I have a birth certificate is not evidence.
No, I'm for to ask you a question. Do you? We going somewhere? I'm just helping you out.
Do I have one? Yes. Do I have one physically with me? No. I believe my parents have my birth certificate with me.
Okay, so the information that you asking me for right at hand to provide you with, I don't have it with me either. So I'm gonna give you some clues, and if you're investigating on my word,
I'm being a mediator in this. My fault. What you're saying, I looked up in law. I looked up in law, and the certificate in the Black's Law Dictionary is a written assurance, an official representation,
a bond.
Roots, you and I have, Roots, you and I have already had this conversation. I don't even know if we really came into an amicable agreement on it, but I know you and I have already had this discussion before.
I just think y'all building. I don't mind the build. I love sword sharpening sword. I understand what you're saying about the certificate. That's all.
So the certificate is a bond, period.
No.
Okay, so
I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you make that declaration and go with it. No,
that's what it says right there.
No, it does not. That's where in that definition does it say anything related to a certificate is automatically a financial instrument?
It's an assurance, and that's what an assurance is.
A written assurance or official representation. You see that "or" there? Doesn't mean and. Doesn't mean it automatically is a financial instrument.
Or official representation of what? A financial instrument.
Where did it say financial instrument in that definition?
Okay,
it didn't say it in there.
Go back, Rube. Lord have mercy.
Goodness.
Okay, so read it out, Rube.
A written assurance or official representation that some act has or has not been done.
So a written assurance is the subject of the identity of what this is. Now, anything following it is a adjective of the insurance. The insurance in itself is a bond, bro.
No, it is not. No, it is not. A written assurance or official represent. Sorry, RootWords, can you go back to the definition, please? Root.
It's right there, brother.
There we go. Okay. A written assurance or official representation that some act has or has not been done, or some event occurred, or some legal formality has been complied with. That can mean just about anything. It can mean I am certifying that I delivered the goods as sold to the company over here on this day. I'm certifying that I am the legal representation of this individual for this litigation that we're doing. I'm certifying. That is what an official assurance is. It can mean a legal instrument, but it does not automatically make a certificate a legal instrument, or excuse me, a financial instrument.
Don't go away. Go back, Groot. Go back. Lord have mercy. Go down to a document in use of English Custom House. No goods can be exported by certificate except foreign goods formerly imported, on which the whole part of the custom paid is in portion is to be drawn back. Listen,
yeah. It's referring to an arcane example from a legal case. Are you suggesting that because they provided an example, that the example is the rule that governs all?
They're giving you the site of the whole site of certificate, bro.
That's not how it works. That's not how definitions work.
Hold on. Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So how a definition work when it's giving you explanation of the word? How a definition work? You're gonna look outside its own definition? That don't make sense.
What context matters.
It does. And if you got a certificate of title, a certificate of birth, or a certificate of stock, or a certificate of bond, it's all a certificate giving you guarantee that you got this product. It's a bond receipt.
No,
bro.
it's not. No, you are trying to conflate a simple not all a bond is a certificate. Not all certificates are bonds. That's where you're messing up here.
Okay, so tell me, is a receipt a certificate?
No. It's here's something. Is a certificate of title to land a financial instrument?
A certificate to title to land is a financial instrument.
How?
Because you can still sell the fucking. Oh man. Oh we.
So I could. Oh my god. So I could put my deed. I could put my deed in the stock market.
Y'all both making y'all's points. I'm not on nobody's side. I'm just here promoting this great deal against Naughty and Party. I love the bill, but when it says certificate, I looked up assurance, and it said insurance. It didn't say a bank or a financial instrument, but it is some sort of an instrument. So I'm not saying that it's a financial instrument, but it is an instrument.
Like look at the if we're going to go with the full, let's go look at the full the full definition. What about here in assurance, where it says in conveyancing, a deed or an instrument of conveyance, in other words, of a title. And contracts, see, that's where they're switching to when in the context of contract making, in the context of conveyancing. So here, making secure, insurance, the term was formerly of very frequent use in the modern sense of insurance, particularly in English maritime law, and still appears in the policies of some companies, but is otherwise seldom seen of late years. That should say to you that words can change, words can fall out of favor as time goes on, and the usage of certain words does not mean what you think it means.
You tried there, didn't you? Hey, check it out. Anyway, let me move forward. So the numbers, the little red numbers, or some places have little blue numbers that's either at the bottom right hand corner or the left hand corner, or sometimes it's at the top hand corner. Right top hand corner, right? These, you can actually go and look these numbers up and see that they are on I think it's an SBA account with the Treasury Department. You will see that this certificate, that receipt or title or wherever you want to say it is, name change or whatever, those numbers are being traded on a value of an instrument content, bro. That number, those numbers are being seen as an a something of a currency value. So I don't know what you want to say about the certificate. It's even a death certificate. It's got the numbers on it, and it has the same site in the Treasury Department as of a value.
So because you can enter some numbers into the Treasury that coincide with a death certificate, you automatically think they're linked.
If you use some numbers that's off your birth certificate and it's coincide with your account, then you can use that. What is it? Which account? Let me see if someone in the chat know which account exactly it is. Nonetheless, which account is that Treasury Department account that's running off the birth paper, man? It's not no random number, bro.
Yeah.
It's a number that's actually has value to it. This is the whole 1933 Act.
Oh God, not this one.
Oh, not that
I
one.
know
It's
all.
a real
I
act.
know about.
It really
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
So
I
now
know
you're
it's
gonna
all about
deny that?
the supposed events that happened in 1933 that a lot
No,
of people
it
claim.
actually happened.
No,
You
yes,
actually started
yeah,
to get birth certificates.
no,
Oh,
no. What happened in
yeah.
1933 had to deal with the U.S.'s gold reserves during the stock market crash and the
Exactly.
Depression. It has nothing to do with birth certificates.
Yes, it do. That's when your birth certificate became nationalized, and the value of currency trade for other countries to pull you out of depression was used as the U.S. birth certificates as bonds.
Where do you have a copy of the act? Can I see that?
No, I don't have a copy of the act. Do you have a copy of your birth certificate? Can I see that?
That's my own personal information. You're the one who's making the claim here.
I just tell you, I don't have no. You ain't even got to bring that up because I don't have no. I wasn't looking for no debate on this.
You are establishing as fact that this is what happened in the Act of 1933. Sorry if I don't. Sorry if I'm not going to take your word for it.
Pull it up. Lord have mercy. Well, the man done pull some things up. Well, 2-3 things up for me already, which validated what I was saying. Now we're gonna keep going on and on and on and on instead of you taking what I'm saying and doing the investigation on your own to see your own truth. I gotta hit you with every little cliche you look to fight.
God forbid I ask for evidence when you're making claims.
I think RootWords is neutral. He done gave 3 validations on what I said to be a fact 3 times. No, I'm saying every point I give you, you look for validation instead of you taking a word of what I'm saying and going to check it on your own. Go and pull up when the birth certificates became nationalized, Bridget. What year?
The heathen will be smitten, right? The heathen will be destroyed regardless.
And the
wicked shall be driven away.
And the wicked shall be driven
will be destroyed, regardless of what they know, right?
I'm just trying to stay neutral in this great bill. That's all. I'm just trying to stay neutral. Yes, I agree with Nadi, but I'm not trying to double team a person. I'm just trying to have
what year is it, Bridget?
I mean, you should help him out, Root. If he's right, then you should help everyone who's listening get educated.
1933.
Oh, 1933. So there's another point. That's point 4. I think I proven to Mr. Artie.
You didn't prove anything. Actually, no. You did not prove. You didn't prove anything.
Oh man, you just said I was wrong about.
You are wrong. Where is the act? I haven't seen the act yet.
Oh Lord have mercy.
I don't know where you're getting this idea that making declarations and then having somebody somebody else saying they agree with you is evidence.
No, I ain't saying. I'm letting the computer right there. Google agree. I ain't saying no one have to go and agree.
How about America ain't forever? right?
Established Federal
And
Deposit
you know,
Insurance
man,
Corporation (FDIC) and opposed of various other banking reforms.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve Acts of 1933. This is when I'm trying to show you what's going on. Let me go to the. Okay, so there go the act for you. That's the act. Go look that act up.
So you're saying the 1933 Banking Act is where they declare that birth certificates are now going to be financial instruments traded on the stock market.
Because your gold wasn't anymore. So America tried to stay in the lead of the commerce. So by staying in lead, they had to offer up another form of natural resources to the world to keep it going on in the stock market. This is how they got out of the stock market from it. Come on, man. Go look history. Come on, bro. How old are you? 20, 22, 23? How old are you?
35, if that matters.
he's 34.
And your mother has your birth certificate? What the fuck? Our privilege, man. Our privilege. Hey, check it out. Do you believe Elon Musk was born in a hospital?
What the fuck? I have no idea where you're going with this.
Okay. Do you believe the 1% of the elite babies are born in a hospital?
Should I be doubting that?
Okay, so whenever someone come up with some proof that elite baby born in a hospital, I'd be more than welcome to shake off their hand. At least have their children at home by subwives or midwife. What they do, they don't get no birth certificate for their child. They go to Delaware and get a shell company and incorporate it off the name of the child they have and embed that child in a private school. And from that point, it ain't no more public. There's never any public dealing with that child to be recognized as a citizen. That child is always represented in a diplomatic format.
That's
Always.
all I've been saying. That's all I've been saying.
All right, let me see here. I have found a copy of the 1933 Glass-Steagall Banking Act, and I see nothing regarding birth, nothing regarding born, nothing regarding live, nothing. So it says nothing about a birth certificate. So do you got anything else for me?
Hey, repeat it again. I'm gonna look it up just to like cross-reference. What you say? What'd you look up?
This is the Banking Act of 1933, passed June 16th, 1933, also known as the Glass-Steagall Act.
I got you.
And the champion of center glass of part general desire to restore I can't say oppressional like a depressional design and at least in the deposit insurance provisions was many other hold on, bro. Federal Deposit Insurance Corrections. Yeah, hold on. Go down. Many other provisions of the act. Okay, right there. Let me see where I'm at. Where am I at? Banking Act of 1933 joined together two long-standing Congress projects: a federal system of the banking deposit insurance company by Representative Steagall, and the regulation of prohibition
prohibition of the combination of commercial and investment banking and other restrictions on speculative banking bank activities championed by Senator Glass as a part of general desire to restore commercial banking to the purposes envisioned by the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Although the 1933 Banking Act thus fulfilled congressional designs and at least in its deposit insurance provisions was resisted by Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration and later became considered part of the New Deal. The deposit insurance and many other provisions of the act were criticized during the congressional consideration. The entire act was long criticized for limiting competition and therefore encouraging an inefficient banking industry. Supporters of the act cited as a central cause for unprecedented period of stability in the U.S. banking system during the ensuing or in some accounts 5 decades following 1933. What else you need me to read? Yeah, that's all Wiki got. I'm on Wiki.
I have the actual text of the legislation if you want to check it out.
Where did you
And
find that at? I could look it up. I mean, I could find it and read it. No problem.
Nah, I'm about to hold on, y'all. I wasn't trying to be rude. I just think this was a great build between them two men, and I just want them to wrap up their end build. I just think that the chat liked their build over this situation. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't want them to beat up a dead bush and it accidentally flare off to something. So everybody allowed to get in. You know what I'm saying? I just for them to equal up their last rebuts or their last rebuttals, and then we all could give our 2 cents, and I'll go last. You know what I'm saying? But just don't think I kicked y'all out just because I was being an asshole. I love they deal. I loved it.
so
That was very interesting.
The all 37 pages of the actual text of the legislation, and then all I had to do was go to find document and put in, here as an example, bank, and you got 583 matches right there. Okay, so then I go in birth, phrase not found, born, phrase not found, live, delivery in there. So there's nothing in here regarding birth or birth certificates, so you're going to have to provide something else for me here.
Did you read all 35 pages already?
Do I need to look? Do I need to read all 35 pages when it doesn't say birth in it at all? If that's the premise of what we're discussing here.
I don't know.
Just let them
well, here's the thing. If you're making the claim that this is the act that you're asserting that this shows that they're birth certificates are financial instruments, then I would expect you to know, and then you can direct me to what page I can go to see if what you're saying is true. If you're the ones who are making the claim that this is the act that proves it all, you should be able to tell me, as somebody who obviously has read it, show me where to go.
And hold on. This is all I'm saying. Just
go
let
ahead and read
Artie,
it.
hold on, bro. Just let Artie and Naughty give their last rebuts, and then it's just open. I want to hear what y'all think about it. Y'all will have the time to go in and y'all platform. Just let them do their last rebuttals, and it's y'all's turn. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and give y'all's last rebuttals, because I got to clap, man. I love y'all's build. I love having Artie up here because he's gonna call you a bluff. And I think Naughty, I'll tell y'all, mom, what I think at the end, though. I thank y'all for coming up here and being honorable men. Who cares where you from, what side of the planet, or whatever. It was a wonderful build. But go ahead, get y'all's last rebuttals, gentlemen. I love it.
I already spoke, Naughty, so I'll allow you to make a comment.
All right. You have a act that's called hold on, let me figure it out right fast. Damn, I hope I still have it. Yeah. SS7-202, which is the warehouse receipt, which is called it's under the hold on, let me see. The registry.
Hey, Naughty, we're going to open it up. No disrespect. We're going to open it right back up, Naughty. We're going to open it right back up. Just on this conversation y'all was having over the birth certificates and that stuff. Can we just you know what I'm saying, rebut off that so everybody else could, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. True. Roots. Go on your thing right there and put up birth certificates. How is birth certificates certificate bonds? Pull that up right quick on your computer.
So we're not going to go with the act anymore?
I'm looking at something right here.
I'm going to show you the act. I'm going to show you the act.
Naughty. We're going to go into the bonds and everything later, though. I'm with you, though. But this conversation y'all were having, can you just, you know what I'm saying, give your end on that? Hold on, you got it.
I'm done. Shit, I ain't got nothing else to say. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, now hold on. This is all I'm saying is, I hope everybody got their fair share and their points across. I just like two men being able to come up here and build on something. Now, y'all, the other up here, would y'all like to interject off anything that they were saying, or if anybody would like to come up? Thank you, Artie, and thank you, Naughty, for y'all build. I hope y'all didn't think it was no type of discussion or nothing. Good build.
Well, look, what I'm looking at is I see something that's saying. I'm looking at something that say we're going to talk about Form 1099 OID, original issue discount from the IRS. You say when you born, your parents apply for a certification, citizenship, part-time job with the United States, which is a corporation company. Part-time because the full-time job you are working for you. Blah 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 blah. The application they made was known as an application for a live birth certificate, and what issued from this application was known as a birth. The company, the United States, kept the original application and gave your parents a copy of a birth certificate. This created what is known as a foreign citrus trust account. Now let me reread this in my head real quick.
Hold on, bro. I just want to ask you a question. Like, look, you know you're about to be able to talk, bro. I love people helping me talk on this show. It helps me out. I promise you. I want you up here. But they last bill, do you have any interjections on what they was talking about without bringing anything new up? Just what they was talking about the birth certificate, the vital.
Well, I mean, all of my interjections, right, were like precursors to things that was Nadi was saying.
Ask you this.
Everything I had said, Nadi said, and then he not only said what I said, but he provided, citations on where to find this information or like legal documentation on how this whole process worked. But everything I said was exactly in line with what bro said. That's why I said when you muted me, I was like, damn. The only reason why my nigga stopped talking was because, like he said, I've been studying. Like I'm not saying nothing wrong, my G.
But we didn't need
two
quarterbacks. We didn't need two quarterbacks saying the same thing. So now you agree with Nadi or Nadi agree with you. Y'all both aligned. I agree with Nadi. I agree with you. But this is a fair debate, so I was just trying to have two people on there. That's all.
No. I don't debate, bro. I just give information.
Okay, however, go Nadi, just was a great
right. That's what I'm saying. I'm with bro. I'm not trying to debate.
I gotta listen. I gotta ask questions so I can get some intelligence on what you know. If I don't know, I gotta ask questions, get some intelligence off of what you know, and I gotta go learn what you know. If I know something, I ain't gonna debate no one on something I know. I am just giving the info.
So now me, Nadi, and you agree. You, Nadi, and me agree on the same thing. So can Red Squid build on how he built, and then we could open it back up though? Because me, you, and Nadi on the same level. I just don't want to accidentally R3 presences jump on Artie, and he don't have the time to have his. So go ahead, Red Squid. But I'm not trying to cut you off, homie. You just was admitting that you agree with Nadi said, and I agree with Nadi said. So why would I even get in a debate with Nadi against Artie, and why would I let you in when he could handle what I'm saying and you saying, because he was the mic for it. It was one mic against one mic in the class.
Well, because reason being is I'm kind of with Nadi. Like, it's not about a debate. Like, we might both see eye to eye on the shit, but we both still trying to hear what Artie's saying. Like, Artie don't sound like just no ignorant motherfucker that I don't want to listen to.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I still want to hear what he's saying, even though he listening to Nadi. If I could chime in and say what I'm saying, and he could address both of us in his own articulate way, then let him do that. You know what I mean? Because I'm still trying to.
What I'm asking you right now, I just gave you the platform. I didn't give it to you. You deserve the platform because you have a great brain like all of us. If you have anything you would like to ask Artie or Nadi or rebut, it's your turn. But if not, and you agree with Nadi like I do, let's move the mic to Red Squid. I digress, brother.
Well, all I want to know from Artie is, you said you found the documents. So I'm sitting here on DuckDuckGo, and I got right now birth certificates as bonds in 1933. I can't find it. So what did you look up so I could review? Because I could read 37 pages really fast. You know what I'm saying?
I put a direct link to the site in there, but I put in Banking Act of 1933 since that is what he said was the title of the legislation.
Banking Act of 1933. That's it. I'll try to find me a PDF and I'll go through it.
Now there are several pieces of legislation that were passed in that year that involved Depression era antics and Depression era situations, particularly involving the gold standard. But that was for example, House Joint Resolution 192 that was later codified into law later on in the year. But the Banking Act itself, while tangentially related to what happened in the resolution is its own, animal. It's its own piece of legislation. But again, I'm only going by what Nadi had asserted, that this act is the evidence or the proof that birth certificates are financial instruments that are exchanged on the stock market. And I have already demonstrated that at no point in this entire legislation does it even mention birth certificates. So if he's going to make this claim, I would like to ask him if he can point to me the page number, or maybe he's mistaken on which legislation he's referring to.
It's going back to the 1915 birth certificate site. Hey, go pull up what I asked you to pull up, RootWords.
I got you.
Oh, so are you conceding that you got it wrong then? That you got the wrong act here?
No, Nadi. I'm sorry, you got to fall back and let him and whatchamacallit deal. Please, just so it's gonna come back around to Nadi, but Red Squid next. I apologize, man, but Red Squid been holding his tongue. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to.
I just want to know what I just want to know what Nadi want to look up. What is it?
Hey,
how birth certificates are bonds. I got it on my phone. I'm trying to figure out who I can send it to. I'm gonna send it to Root. I'm gonna email it to Root.
We about to get to that conversation. I'm just trying to wrap this up so everybody.
No, he keep asking the same question. But how we gonna wrap it up if we can't? If he asking the question.
With all due respect, Root. With all due respect, Root. He made the claim that the evidence that the birth certificates are bonds, etc. He directly cited the year 1933 and a federal act. He made, and then when I asked him, when we clarified, he said Banking Act of 1933. I am at the Banking Act of 1933. There is nothing here relating to birth certificates. So I'm asking him, either you got it wrong, or either you got the legislation wrong, or what.
Hey, y'all, I'm trying to about to go to the next conversation. That's about to be about the bonds and the same thing, and we all can grow off of. I'm just saying, before we get to the bonds, let everybody know that we're talking about birth certificates. We're talking about the publishing the name in the newspaper. We're talking about vital statistics in the 1933 Banking Act. See, I just wanted to end that conversation and then start the next one on the bonds. That's going to still be the same thing, but I just think that we're jumping ahead, except for letting everybody breathe on the conversation that we just got over. That's just my opinion.
Go ahead, Squid. You have something to say. Squid already said he wanted to talk about the God.
No, yeah. That's an interesting play on words for real. That it'll be interesting to hear anyone talk on that. I thought it was a great bill. I believe that it's a type of evolution. It's a type of technological evolution. This concept of the words and contracts and laws. Right. And at the end of the day, even when in whatever ignorance I might have on some of these things, I think that it's beyond a doubt of truth that the legitimacy of the United States corporation and the Queen of England and the Pope and whatever the fuck celestial govern that China claim is invalid. And I mean, it doesn't take so much proof for me to know that criminality is all through these doctrines of devils. And so it's interesting when I hear someone asking people to bring proof forth and sharpen those type of swords of relay, you know what I'm saying, because that is interesting in itself. But for those that know the bigger picture, we'll never lose sight of the actual facts to the thing. I don't think that there's a document or a person or any type of evidence to suggest that there's an actual legitimacy to any of the so-called governing that we see in the world today, especially in these main players, especially due to what would be considered atrocities against human rights by laws today, right? So it's like, yes, you can, it's a tough thing to go through these words and these doctrines and these documents and things sometimes and these legalese. But I've seen throughout other builds and things that are highly interesting, and no one is perfect. And so this system isn't perfect, and the way they write their laws and things like that. You know what I mean? And I think when that's exploited, that you find these loopholes or these ways to finesse uh, your position, right? And you know what I'm saying? It's all totally interesting. But at the end of the day, like I don't think there'll ever be proof that there's a shining light at the end of the tunnel for those who think the world is the way it should be, and that's going to continue like that. You understand? So that's my belief. And after hearing what I've heard, so uh, I'll be tuning in and listening to this birth certificate situation. But once again, the corporation America that is, and the Queen of England and the Pope and the celestial governing claimed by Asia, they all totally invalid. I mean, they all scumbags. And is no one, no matter how high of a soapbox they get on, is going to be able to prove without an ego, right? Or without a blind eye to the facts, anything else, right? So, but great build, brothers. I appreciate it.
Facts. I just want to say one thing real quick. I think this was a wonderful bill because it was talking about birth certificates and whether that makes you a citizen or whether it was a trust. So I'm just still the mediator, though. I just feel that when I looked up the certificate, it said it's a written assurance. That's all it is. In the Black's Law Dictionary, it said it's a written assurance or official representation. And when I looked up insurance, it said that it didn't say it was a financial instrument, but it said it was a deed or instrument. So it's some type of instrument. And then I looked up, do a name be put into a newspaper? And we all know there's something to do with our letters in capital letters in a newspaper. And we know that our names goes through the vital statistics. You know what I'm saying? That they say was made in 1933. And then they got on the so-called Banking Act of 1933. So it's just it's a good build, and you could believe in what you believe in. I'm just trying to keep it a good build. You know what I'm saying? We all have our own knowings of everything. I just think it's a good build, and you can believe in which way. Just it's up to you. And now we're going to the
Okay.
next one. Go ahead, y'all can build off
Okay.
that next one. Bonds
Right.
and everything.
Hold up. Let me get a point across where it could have been confused. Now, the birth certificate actual act was implemented in 1915 in America. It was actually introduced in America in the late 1800s, and actually it was introduced in England in 1853. This is me just going off of common my studies, not saying I got a book in front of me, but it's something I know of facts. So you can do that research on the birth certificate. But far as the government taking the birth certificates and claiming it, it goes 1933 to go back to the bonds of 1915 that was created to implement it as a bond. So go ahead, Groove. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, I just like the build. I'm just saying that y'all opening up my eyes to more things. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I like about Artie, one thing I love about Artie, I consider him, if you put it in boxing, he's the boxer nobody want to fight. So you got to go through Artie if you got skills. I want to see you go through Artie. That's what I love about him. When he's
Hey,
gonna let
you
you
have
know if you got
truth
skills.
in the
I
background.
love that
You
about
got
him.
you got truth in the backstage. So if you want, bring them on.
Who?
Truth searcher. Truth.
I don't I don't think he is in the back. I'm looking at my back and he ain't in there.
Oh, I just seen a text in the backstage private chat.
I
Someone
don't
named
my chat is on the screen. I don't see him in here
no,
unless
like go in the private chat what we can see only.
yeah,
It
I'm
said,
in there.
yeah,
Yeah,
it said,
I'm gonna come back.
I'm in the back. Look, it said,
Hey,
yeah,
hey, trust me,
I,
not. I'm
I'm
looking at
in
my
the back.
back screen. I'm understanding everything you're saying, brother. I'm understanding everything you're saying. He left. He ain't up here, brother. Or I'd let him in. I'm understanding.
I just seen a text. He just popped in a text right now again.
I'm looking at it, brother. I'm looking at it. Everybody in the chat looking at it. All 22 people looking at it.
No. The private chat, bro, not the chat for everyone. Just the panel chat. You know,
He
it's a
said,
panel.
"Yeah, I'm gonna come back." That's what
Oh
he
yeah,
said.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
come
yeah,
back.
yeah.
I got you.
Oh,
Homie.
okay.
But I still don't see him up here. I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe let me take my screen down real quick.
Yeah, how is he texting if he got to be back here if he texting?
All right, check this out. Instructions for recipient. Original issue discount, OID, is the excess or obligation stated redemption price at maturity over its issue price, acquisition price over a stripped bond or coupon. OID on a taxable obligation is taxable as interest over the life, quote unquote life, of the obligation. If you are the holder of a taxable OID obligation, you generally must include an amount of OID in your gross income each year.
What's up?
You hold the obligation. Obligations that may have OID include a
Can y'all
bond,
hear me?
debenture, note, certificate,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
other evidence
Pull up House
of.
Resolution at
Hold on, let him
HJR
finish.
192.
Let
Can
him
y'all,
finish.
can y'all hear me?
Let him
No.
finish. Yeah, we can hear
Hold on.
you.
But hold on.
Alright,
What are
alright.
you reading though, bro? You ain't reading 37 pages.
I'm reading Form 1099 OID.
I mean,
Says
what
the
is it,
instructions.
I understand
reading-
what you're saying though, but there's 6 people up here though. So you feel what I'm saying? Though, try to, you know what I'm saying? Break it down a little. There's 6 people up here, and we all
I'm
got.
reading Form. I'm reading Form 1099 OID.
What is
They're
it?
saying that
What is
they're
the?
saying that they're saying that this is the form to
That's when you
where
filing tax.
that's where
business.
you getting, that's where people are making money off of your birth certificate.
Yeah.
So
Now, hold on,
they a motherfucker
original discount.
original issue discount. So your original issue discount.
Paying your bills.
No. When your name go in capital letters, like Nadi said, that's your receipt. The actual bill that somebody paid went to the stock market.
Okay.
Okay, so
the stock market now the stock market is the holder of your bond. Like I said, obligations that may have an OID include a bond, debenture, note, certificate, i.e. birth certificate, and I'm back to reading, or other evidence of indebtedness having a term of more than 1 year. For example, the OID rules may apply to certificates of deposit, CDs, time deposits, bonus saving plans, or other deposits arrangements, especially if the payment or interest is deferred until maturity. In addition, the OID rules apply to Treasury, inflation-protected securities. What it means is
He already stated that.
This is the form.
Hey man, y'all know I'm on your side. Y'all know I'm on your side like a motherfucker. But I'm telling you,
he already stated.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I completely missed the connection here between filing a 1099 OID and one's birth certificate. You didn't make that connection.
Thank you.
Let me read it again. Let me start from the top.
Oh God.
From the top.
What I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say, y'all. My fault. I just want to say this. Y'all need to listen to what Artie says sometime. I'm on your side. Make that connection. And when you read it, it didn't say nothing about a certificate.
What I'm saying is, when you born, it's saying that your deposit is $10 for your life. All right. Now let's read the stipulations. I'm gonna start from the top. Instructions for recipient. You got the receipt, but you're not the recipient of this form. You got the form back. You gave the receipt to the mama daddy. All right. You're the recipient of the form. The form, like a ticket, has a little perforated tear off. So you tear it off and give the receipt to the parents. You got the ticket. It's like a money order. I got the money order. I gave you the ticket. That's it.
What does that have to do with
the rules?
What does that have to do with the birth certificate?
No, he's saying the birth certificate is the ticket, is the receipt. It's not the actual form. Now he's showing you the form that your mother and father filled out, which some would call a long form. He's showing you what that actually is the real deed, and you just have the receipt to the deed.
There you go. That's why we hear you say, hold on, see. There you go. See, that's why I love fucking Artie. There's a difference deed
I've been told him that.
hold on, bro. There's a difference
You're
between
listening.
and certificate. Them are two
All right,
totally
all right,
hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
all right.
Hold on, man. I'm telling you that there's two different understandings. As much as I'm with y'all have to make that connection of certificates and the OID. Not a deed, not a title, not a bond, not a bill. I'm talking about the birth certificates. I digress.
Right. The certificate is just a receipt, like a money order. You got a money order, that's the long form. Then on the side of the money order, you got a little receipt. That's your birth certificate. Now, let me read you the stipulation.
Okay, so all I heard from that is conjecture, and because you said it's
Bro,
like a receipt, it's like I would like you to know that, you know, if you fraudulently file a 1099 OID, you can get in a lot of trouble. And as an example of Winston Trout is currently serving 11 years in federal prison for trying to tell people that they can get out of their tax obligations by trying to file a 1099 OID. I just want to make sure you knew that.
What I'm saying is, Artie, is a 1099 OID is different from a 1099 standard.
I know that.
I know what a 1099 is.
I know what a 1099 OID is. That's it. I said exactly that. Trying to get out of your tax obligations by filing a 1099 OID because you buy into this redemption premise that you can get out of your obligations can get you in trouble, as Winston Trout can attest to.
I'm saying Nadi said hold on. Nadi said the right thing. Nadi said a deed. Now, see, there's a difference from the word deed and certificate. I'm asking you to put certificate with the 1099 OID. Put it with their...
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not reading to you.
Hold on. I'm asking you to show these people. Show me where I could link them two together. I digress, bro.
I'm telling you, look up 1099 OID. I'm reading you what happens to the person that has the deed, not the certificate.
Where are you reading this, if you don't mind me asking? Like,
you pull up a 1099 OID. That's what I'm telling you.
Like the actual form itself.
Yes, and at the end of it, this is what it says. It says instructions to recipient. In bold capital letters, it's the header of the page, top left, indented, all of that. Let me read, please. From the beginning, it says original issue discount, OID, is the excess of an obligation, state of redemption, price at maturity over its issue price, in parentheses, acquisition price over a strip bar or coupon, close parentheses. That means long deed over certificate, what I passed off. Anyway, back to the page. It says OID on a taxable obligation is taxable as interest over the life of the obligation. Why would it say life? Back to the page. If you are the holder of taxable OID obligation, you generally must include an amount of OID in your gross income each year you hold the obligation. Obligations that may have OID include a bond, debenture, note, certificate, or other evidence of indebtedness having a term of more than 1 year. For example, the OID rules may apply to certificates of deposits, CDs, time deposits, bonus savings plans, and other deposit arrangement, especially if the payment or interest is deferred until maturity. In addition, the OID rules apply to Treasury inflated protected securities. See Pub 550 for more information. Next paragraph. If, as the record holder, you receive Form 1099 OID showing amounts belonging to another person, you are considered a nominee recipient. Complete a Form 1099 OID for each of the owners or each of the other owners showing the amounts allocable to each. File A of the form with the IRS. Furnish copy B to each owner. That's the parents. Back to the page. List yourself.
You assuming that you're attaching parents to owner there by yourself.
Okay, well,
I just want to make sure you point you're pointing that out.
All right. You're right. As yourself as the payer and the owner as the recipient. File forms.
where
You're
you're
right,
reading.
Artie. You're right.
It's me. I'm just saying, can you get like I understand that you're reading a book to us, and I mean we're not to that book. We're like connect the birth certificate to the OID. I ain't saying
God damn, you didn't hear me and Natty already, bro?
no. I'm saying no. That's one thing I like about Artie, and that's what Nadi did at first. My opinion of it, I'm not going to even give my opinion of it, but right now Artie is winning because
Go
y'all.
back to
Man,
the
Natty,
My
hierarchy.
keep
point,
telling
the
what I'm
point,
saying, bro.
here's where I'm
back to
getting the
the
problem
first
here
sentence.
is that you are reciting the 1099 OID, and you, not the form itself, you are attaching, you are making the connection between parents, child, and owner, payer or payee. You are making that connection, not the form
wait a
itself.
minute. All right, Artie, I feel you. But if I was buying a car, right? And if I was buying a car, and then I had, after I bought these rights to the car or a home, I had rights to rent this home to you, a leasee, or leasees with an S in parentheses. Now, you, John or Jane Doe, are either leaser or leasees of my home. So if I, owner, singular, own the copy of this paper and I tear you off B, which I just read, the receipt, certificate, bond, or debenture, then you have to pay me for that. Period. I make money off of this. You don't.
Okay.
All you got is the receipt.
Okay, and again,
else.
where is the presumption that you can connect a birth certificate to what an OID is? You still
The
have it set.
presumption
You
is
are
right
just
here.
making
When
it.
I-
You're just
listen,
saying.
listen.
You're just saying it does because it does. You're already
No.
presuming that a birth certificate is a bond, and therefore you are conflating the OID to connect it to the birth certificate because you're already making that presumption. I'm challenging the presumption.
No, here's the proof. The proof is it says OID on a taxable obligation is taxable as interest over the life. Cars don't have life. Houses don't have life. Nothing has life except for life. I give you
the life of the account, the life of the debt.
No.
You do not. Do you not understand that?
No. When you go to the bank, you don't pay for the life of a debt, buddy. You don't pay for the life of a mortgage, bro. It don't happen that way. You pay for the duration. You pay for the time.
Oh my God! Are you really trying to? You're really trying to use those weasel words here? Really?
Yes, because those words are vital. They're vital
for the life of the mortgage that I'm paying right now. How many times have I used that? That everybody knows what life of this debt means in regular layman parlance. It does not automatically mean life as in a living human being. Oh my God!
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
There's a period. Bro, there's a duration,
Dude.
there's a period.
Oh, no.
There's a duration and there's a period, bro. You can say the life of the mortgage. You can say that. But on paper, it's the duration. It's the period. You pay 30 years. That's a 30-year period out of your life span. It's not the life of the mortgage.
Any layman, every layman out there understands what that means. And they know that it does not mean, automatically mean a living person is involved. If you are seriously saying that is the connection here, that is the link, oh my God, you're on thin ice here.
What I'm saying is they're not using that word in your context. The only place you would find life of X amount of time would be like for like a job applicancy, a salary bonus, some sort of a simple contract. It wouldn't be for anything taxable to the IRS. They don't say life. It's the period. It's the duration. If you exceed this, when do you get a light bill and it says if you exceed the life of this light bill, then we're gonna cut you off.
I'm not paying the electric company a loan. I'm paying a bill. We're talking about loans here. loans as in mortgage, or loans as in debts that you owe,
when you
tax.
When you pay for a contracted phone, you're paying for a prorated bill. So it doesn't say anything about the life of the bill.
For the life of the contract.
It says the duration. No, bro.
Yes.
It's the duration period. No. It's the duration of your billing cycle, champ.
Oh my God. So you've never heard of that phrase at all before in your life? When somebody refers to, I gotta, you're obligated to pay this amount for the life of the mortgage.
In layman terms, but not in legalese format. In legalese format, life means life.
You're talking to a lawyer, so I don't know where you're getting this legalese thing from.
I just told you, if you listen, you hear me.
Yeah, I know. Not everything that attorneys do is arcane and archaic, and we use Latin all the time. I want to make sure you understand that.
Listen to what I just said, bro. You hear me. In layman terms, yes, to see a recognizable site does the life duration of the vehicle battery. But in legal format, it's not going to be in life term unless it's speaking on life in itself. You know that.
You know that? So that's something that you're claiming here. So that's something you're claiming here. You're claiming that that's fact, right? Is that right?
You're a lawyer, right? You're a lawyer, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if the judge say, I'm gonna give you life in prison, what is he saying?
65 years.
So is it?
No.
Hold on.
I know you don't want to believe that, but that is what life means, actually.
Hell no.
Listen, life without parole, brethren, your ass in for life.
65 years.
Listen,
no, bro.
No. I know you. I know you guys don't know that, but hey, that's what happens when you're on the inside. You kind of know these things. But life does not mean life.
Listen, let me say this.
Life is 65 years.
If it's being something implemented behind or in front of life, it's going to be stated. It's not just going to be left out in the open life as plainly as just life in itself. It's going to say the account, the life of the account, or the account life, or the debt life, or the life of the debt in itself. If it just in terms on paper, life is speaking of a living individual. It's not speaking of something you want to make up.
Well, I know that's what you think, but you're actually incorrect there.
Well, tell me how is it?
Different, bro.
How do I come to the speculation of my speculation, and you agree with my speculation on any of that? What you saying?
I don't know no nigga got life without parole. I don't know no nigga that got life without parole and then got out, bro, after 55 years, bro. I know niggas at 15 then got life without parole and they ain't getting out, bro. Like, they're not getting out, bro. Like, there's nothing you can say, bro. Like, you're fucking totally wrong, bro.
Okay, you can make that declaration. It's fine. You can say whatever the hell you want.
What kind of lawyer are you? What kind of lawyer are you? Criminal?
Where did you pass the bar?
Property?
What's that?
When did you pass the bar?
New York and New Jersey.
What kind of lawyer? What kind of law you practice?
Hold on, man. I'm not about to get into Artie's life. I just want to ask this.
Hold on, bro. It's substantive to this conversation. What law you practice?
Most of my experience has been with family and property.
Family and property.
Right.
Okay, so hold on though. I mean, I'm just trying to ask though is, look, man, y'all know we on the same vibrations and like we're the same team. I just like Artie because you see how sharp we are. That's all he do, and I love that though. Because
Artie.
And then hold on, one thing, Nadi, I just want to ask.
How can a person get out of paying taxes and they own some property, Artie? How is that possible?
I'm sorry,
Hold
what?
I
on,
like Artie. I had
hold on, y'all.
Root. I had no idea.
Well, lie. Rule, stop saving him. Stop
I know
saving
I'm not
him.
about
Stop
saving
saving
you. No, I'm not about saving you. That's the next question. You got the next question. You got the next question. That's the
I
next
had
question.
no idea. I had no idea that he passed the bar, dog. I had no idea, Artie, bro. That's what's up.
I'm asking, can y'all put the birth certificate and the OID form together? That's all. I mean, I'm not saying y'all wrong or right. We'll get to the next one, but if y'all can't, I just have
What we saying is if you grab a money order, right? You're gonna put your name on the money order. You're gonna sign your name and you're gonna put who you giving it to. Then on the side of that money order, it's gonna have, like, if you go to AmSky, it's gonna have red numbers, and then you get to sign your name again, or you can give it to that person to sign their name on the receipt. So you can now keep this receipt with their name on it, and it says that you gave them this money, right? So like if I got baby mama and I gotta give baby mama $1,000, I can give her $1,000 money order. It's gonna have a number on it. She can sign the side. I can keep the receipt. It's gonna show that it was signed.
I've lost the direction of the conversation now.
So now
I don't know where the hell is going.
The money order is a
Excuse
1099
me.
OID. Now they keep the money order, but they give mommy daddy the signed birth certificate. That's all we saying.
And check this out.
I'm trying to say this, man. He gonna scream presumption. I understand that word like a motherfucker. I'm saying, even if you're right, it's still presumption unless you can let me look it up or you tell me the show screen and I can show it.
Well, I just told you, look up the 1099 OID. And I just said they use the word.
And I showed everybody and it don't have nothing with certificate on it. I'm not
bro,
saying.
It says, listen. It says instructions for recipient. It says the word certificate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lines under instructions for recipient. The first word of the line is certificate.
Where?
Okay.
7 lines. 7 lines. Yeah, under instructions for recipient. 7 lines under that, it says certificate.
Hold on, bro. I agree. I'm not trying to go. Hold on, bro. Because I'm showing us people here.
That's fine if it says certificate, though.
Hold on, Artie. He got a good point. If it says certificate up on this motherfucker, were you telling me to look at and say if they got certificate?
No. That was on something else. The fact that an OID has certificate in it or mentions certificate does not automatically mean you can apply a birth certificate to a 1099 OID.
Artie, you're right. I'm just trying to go. I'm trying to.
RootWords, you got to pull up the official form itself. I got the official form. I'm not looking at an explanation. I'm looking at the official form.
Hold on, I'm going to the official form right now for you, Bob. Here we go. 1099 public document.
It's got like payers in red and all of that in red.
I got you, bro. Right here. I got you right here. Payers, street name, payers, TIN, recipient.
Yeah, you keep scrolling down. It's going to say something. It's going to have a page. What page is this? This is page 5 of 9.
Now, I'm just telling you, 5 out of 9. That's a lot, but I'm just saying y'all can't show me that. But now, if you're saying it's on there somewhere, just show me where to look it up. Or show
page 5 out of 9. Page 5 out of 9. I don't know how to do that, bro. I'm on a cell phone.
I don't know where to look it up, though, man. I'm looking at the...
I looked it up. I'm going to tell you where I looked it up. I looked it up at 1099 OID PDF.
1099 OID PDF. PDF. It came to the form.
It's not on images. It's going to be in web. You're going to have to download it and then open it.
Okay, my fault. There you go. I feel what you're saying. 1099 OID form, blah, blah, blah. Business download that. Now, I'm just saying, this is a lot of evidence if it got that certificate on it, man. That's a lot of evidence now.
And page 5 out of 9. Page 5, exactly. Now, go to page 5 out of 9. Line 7, under instructions. Now, keep going. Instructions, yeah, right there. Now, line 7. First word of line 7, says certificate. Right there. Line 7.
Line 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are you talking about line 7? Box
Under instructions for recipient. Line 7, under instructions for recipient. The first word is certificates.
Yo, you see that factor filing? Well, I'm for the bust his bubble. Go ahead, though.
But I
Finish
don't
what you
see
do.
certificate. I don't see certificate. I just want to see where you're saying certificate. I counted 7
I'm
lines.
reading your page right now. I'm trying to, but you ain't got it zoomed in enough. But I'm reading your page right now. Scoot all the way to the left. Blah, 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 blah. Then go up a little bit. You're too far down. Go up.
Top of it, bro.
Up. Zoom back out.
I don't know
Go
what
back down to instruction. Go back down to a Zoom instruction for recipient, and then zoom back in so I can read it.
There we go. Okay. I'm just. We about to get to the next one if we can't find it.
Go to the top. Go to the top. No, it's in there. Go to the top.
Okay, look, man. For your protection, form. It's not in there. It's not in there. I'm all the way down to 1099. It's not in there. It's not in there. Box 1 is not in there.
Yeah, no, go down. Scroll down.
Box 2 is not in there.
Well, how come your page different than mine? Hold on, let me look at mine and see why mine different than yours.
I'm just saying.
Let me see why mine different than yours. Let me see. I know. Let me see why mine different than yours.
Okay. Touch your mute right fast. Envy. Listen.
I don't know. Artie looking kind of. But see, why I just can't believe it though, y'all. But
come on, man. Hold up. Let me tell you. Okay, you see where it says factor filing requirement? Go back.
I don't see why you have. I don't see why you have all the bold letters.
Mic check.
I hear you, Natty. I ain't mean to cut you off, but I don't see why he have. I don't see why he have under instructions for recipient. To see under, I got Natty. This is what I got. I got attention. I got the attention page. Then I got a red page. Then I got a black page of boxes. Black page of boxes. Page 5 and 9. Instructions for recipient. I don't have any of those titles that you have in bold. And that's what I'm saying. Under instructions for recipient, it should start off with original issue discount, OID, is the excess of an obligation stated redemption price at maturity over its issue price, acquisition price for a stripped bond or coupon. And that's what I'm saying, Artie. Like you gotta hear these legalese. They saying that you got an acquisition price over a stripped bond or coupon. So the hospital stripped you of this bond or coupon, and now you got the acquisition price of this bond. Now, the OID is taxable. The OID on a taxable obligation is taxable as interest over the life of the obligation. If you are the holder of a taxable OID obligation, you generally must include an amount of OID in your gross income each year. You hold the obligation. Obligations that must have OID include a bond, debenture, note, certificate, or other evidence of indebtedness having a term of more than 1 year. For example, the OID. For example, the OID rules may apply to certificates of deposit, CDs, time deposits, bonus savings plans, or other deposit arrangements, especially if the deposits, bonus savings plans, or other deposit arrangements, especially if the payment of interest is deferred until maturity, which would be the 18 years. So you would have to report your deposit or what you spent on this birth certificate after a year. So you get the birth certificate for free because it was stripped of the person that had the bond. Now you got it after a year, you paid money for it, and then after 18 years, now it's taxable because you've been making money off of it this whole fucking time. I mean, come on, bro.
That's a nice story. That's a nice theory you got there. That's a nice theory. That's a nice story you got there. You still haven't provided evidence that birth certificate can be applied to an OID?
Well, what I'm saying is the life. Like I said, the life. It didn't say the life of an account. It didn't say the life of a mortgage. It didn't say the life of anything. It said the life.
So
and then it goes furthermore to explain. It goes furthermore to explain that this OID can come from one or two parties, as in a single or a couple. So mommy alone or a couple. It doesn't come from just out of thin air.
You seriously see how you're like trying to plug in, you know, to plug in the elements here to try and confirm your biases here. The problem that you're having here is that you have not proven, you have not demonstrated that a birth certificate is even a financial instrument in the first place. And the fact, if it really does come down to the fact that that it says life in the document, either on the document or on the instructions of the document, if the fact that it has life in there is your one link. Oh, you're going to need a lot more than that to be accurate here.
Listen.
The second link, furthermore,
the second link, Artie, the second link is certificate. The first link was life.
And we already established that certificate does not automatically mean a financial document.
My fault, Artie. Look, Artie is asking you. He just said, let Artie do that thing and then rebuttal him. He already is saying something.
We doing good. We ain't arguing, bro. I ain't calling him names.
I'm not telling you what you're doing. I'm telling you what I want to hear. I want to hear your rebut to what he's saying. He's saying something.
You gotta let us go.
No, I'm not going to let y'all go, man. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Damn, I'm not going to just let y'all go. I want to hear something and build off of it. He said that you showing this and that. Just let him build, and then you got next, bro. That's all. It's that simple, bro.
Yo, let me say something, Aman. Go back to that document of what you had up there on RootWords.
I don't mean to be rude. They was building good. No disrespect, Nadia. I want to hear it. I just don't want to.
They wasn't.
You gotta understand. Sometimes we ain't arguing, bro. I cut him off because I want him to hear my point before he even.
I'm not saying that. Just
sometimes he might do that to me though.
You know how to fall back, bro. You're the only one that's not falling back at all. See what I'm saying?
Nah. Sometimes he do that to me, bro, and I fall back and let Artie.
Man, just chill, bro. Oh, my fault. See, I didn't even mean to take him out of there. My fault. See, you got me micing you muting your mic, man. I don't want to do that. Just learn how to fall back a little bit. We all know how to do that, but you're just
bro. Artie is 100 with me, dog.
You really ain't gonna just fall back and let Artie talk for a second, everybody, bro. That's all I'm asking. Okay.
No, because he said something and I'm on his ass. I'm on his ass.
Maybe I'm trying to run my channel and show that I'm big dog. Maybe whatever the fuck I'm
doing. Yeah. Like, bro, I'm on his ass. He on my ass.
To fall the fuck back, my nigga. And let him talk.
He on my ass. I'm on his ass. You really
can't do that for me, the person that's trying to run his own.
All right, bro. For you, bro, I'm on that. I'm quiet, bro.
And you got right after him. It ain't that hard, man.
Go ahead, Artie, bro. I love you, bro. Go ahead, Artie, bro.
All I'm trying to try and say here in response to this is that you gave a scenario in which if that operates on the presumption that a birth certificate is a financial instrument, and then you provided the scenario in which you can plug in, okay, parent means party, or two parents mean one or two parties here. Birth certificate can apply to bond here, this and that, the other, and this is how you can file 1099 OID with the birth certificate, yada, yada, yada. Here it is. Here's how it all plugs in, how it all works. The problem we're having here is that your only basis of where you're able to connect the legitimacy of using a birth certificate as a financial instrument is because the document has life in it. The word life in it is somewhere in the document, and that it mentions certificate, which we have already established does not automatically mean a financial instrument. So I'm going to tell you right now that even though you're able to, plug and play the parties here and, match these things with the document, your connection here is weak at best. And to further that, you haven't, the best form of evidence would be if somebody applied this practically, like in real life, was challenged on that, and then he won in court. But I haven't seen that at all. If anything else, people who have tried to manipulate a 1099 OID to use it through a birth certificate or a secret account with the Treasury, they've gotten in trouble real bad with the IRS. It says you can't do that, and it's a bunch of BS. So, to conclude, I'm going to say that your evidence showing that a birth certificate is a financial document, you're going to need a little bit more than that to convince a court.
All right, so check this out. Go back to that document, Roots.
Which one?
The one that the OID.
The instruction form or
the one right there. I think no. Is that it? No. Remember the one that had the black bold letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, here it is right here. Yeah, there
All
it is
right,
right.
you see that FACTA filing? You see that? Go over.
Yeah, FACTA filing requirement.
Okay, FACTA filing requirements is when you go in, it's the Fair and Accurate Trade Commission Act. That's what it is. And that act is in placement for an individual that denounced of their citizenship. This is how the 1099 is applied to work for an individual. If you are still claiming and never did your corrective filing of the FACTA filing, you will de-citizenizing yourself of this country as a citizen and just internalize your the name as a business or incorporated. You're not filing the proper, you're not falling under the proper FACTA Act or FACTA filing process. So it's different things that you got to do for this process to work, which again, the FACTA Act is the Fair and Accurate Commission something act, something I forget. But again, it's about your identity, the birth certificate, the authentication of a birth certificate, all of these things here in your separation from being a citizen or even seen as a citizen. I close out with that because I ain't gotta go in too deep. I just give you something to go and study on your own.
Yeah. Okay. So I looked up a FATCA. It stands for Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. So you're kind of off there. Is there another FATCA out there?
Again, bro, I was just shooting from the hip. It ain't like I got the shit right in front of me. I just seen it. I seen it up there, and when I seen it there, I went on and relayed my knowledge to you.
Well, someone who speaks knowledge with such confidence, I would expect you to understand, what you're citing here.
I am understanding what I'm citing. I'm just told you I understand this shit. I might not got the correct acronym in its format that doesn't need to be corrected to your satisfaction, but I'm pointing you in the right direction where I want you to see what I'm telling you. That's what you need to get. Don't listen to how the message is being given or who it's coming from. Hear the message in itself. That's what you need to do, bro, when you're dealing with me. So go read that briefly. Think you can read that and know something about it in two minutes of reading.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to read it in 2 minutes and realize it has nothing to do with birth certificates.
Whatever.
Whatever. Okay. I feel like you haven't really talked with somebody who's willing to challenge you on your views.
You could challenge me all you want. I just giving you the same site that you followed.
I mean, you already got the 1933 Act wrong. You haven't really established the idea of a birth certificate as an instrument, or that certificates automatically mean banking.
How
You
did I
never
get it
understood
wrong?
that life can
Hold
mean
on, hold
something other than a human being, and now you trying to cite FATCA,
Stop throwing shit
which
out
doesn't
there
even come
and
in
open it
anywhere
to spin.
close to what you were claiming the acronym to be.
Hey,
So I'm not even sure
hey,
if what you said about FATCA even applies here, because it sounds like something
stop doing
completely different.
Now
stop
hold on.
throwing
So
a bucket of
Hold on,
shit
Mike. You got
and
next,
open
Nadi.
it
You
to
got next,
spin.
Nadi. You got next, Nadi. Let him just build. You got
no,
next.
I'm done. I
No,
think I made it clear where we're standing right
he's
now.
yeah, he's throwing a bucket of shit on the wall and expecting something to stick. I just gave you the site. I telling you again,
I just gave a
whatever you
recap.
wanna, oh man, whatever you wanna proclaim, I'm going in depth on what the brethren was saying is of truth. Your factor filing is dealing with your birth certificate in the original form to declare yourself non-citizen. This is what's gonna make you either a foreign, a foreign, a foreign, uh, what do I say? Foreign
Diplomat.
company or entity, foreign entity that's allowed to do business and file non-tax exempt through FACTA by not being a citizen of this country. Listen to what I'm saying, bro. You're a citizen through only certain ways, and I'm trying to show you ways to um, exit out of certain fashions of this format that's been implemented for all the people to follow, which is not for you to follow. The same instance I just give you about the children being the 1%er or the elite or the richest people, the wealthy people, children not being born in no hospital. That is of truth. They're not born with a birth certificate. They go and make a chef company off of their own child, off of their business of establishment. Go and read a Rockefeller autobiography, David Rockefeller autobiography, bro. David Rockefeller autobiography tells you everything what I'm telling you in his autobiography. A lot of people need to go read that, and maybe they'll catch something.
One thing I like about Nadi is he has, as us so-called black people, brown people, whatever the fuck we are, is our so-called conscious community. He has a lot of knowledge on law. And one thing I like about Artie, a lot of us don't understand presumption.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see Artie. I like to see Artie, and I think you handled yourself well. I think you 3-1. This last one, my opinion of it, I don't think you proved yourself. But on the first 3 facts, I think you handled them rounds real good. That's just my opinion of it. But just I love Artie because he gonna see if you could prove it and no presumption. And that's where we have to be sharp on. So whether you white or black, you stupid to even think like that. You just a dumb motherfucker to keep saying, "Oh, if you white, oh, you stupid motherfuckers." Learn something off everybody, man. Thank y'all for showing up, and if y'all still want to build, it's all good, man. Thank y'all for that. I needed that.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I think
cool
it's
it.
time for me to call it a day. It's already midnight over here.
Okay, yeah, over here it's midnight too. That same thing.
But I appreciate you having me on, RootWords. It's always an experience. Let me put it that way. So thank you.
Marty, could you answer that question for me before you go?
What was the? I'm sorry. What was the question?
You was a land um um attorney or lawyer.
I have experience in property law. Yes.
Right. Or a family. So it'll be 2 questions. How can a person have a property and not pay taxes without it being under a nonprofit organization? And how can someone be exempt from paying child support?
Okay.
2 questions.
The first question you're gonna have to rephrase it because there was a lot of negatives in there, so I wasn't really understanding it. Can you repeat that first question?
How can someone outside of a nonprofit organization be tax exempt on a property they own?
How can someone be tax exempt on property taxes if they're not a nonprofit organization?
Uh-huh.
5013C.
Right. Well, I understand that.
No. I'm not even using that. Not even using that.
The idea, I really couldn't tell you because the fact is that a lot of property taxes and a lot of property exemptions are at the state level. So, and
Right.
honestly,
So
it's been a while.
have you ever had a case dealing with a state that's in a trust?
Yes,
Was that trust subjected to taxes?
the trust can be subject to tax. Yes, if
Can
it has
be.
assets, if it has
It all can,
assets.
and it also can it couldn't be also. It cannot be also, right? So it's an if and depends on how you go. Okay, so you pretty much, I ain't gonna put you on the spot. So I just wanted to give the people a little reassurance on something. Okay, so the children, the family and
Uh huh.
children is what guarantees an individual to have to pay child support?
Would guarantees if they're established as the parent of the child, then they are under an obligation to support that child either through custody or financial payments such as child support.
Correct.
Right. So what premise do the courts have any um say so of how that person take care of their child or their what their, like we're going back again, and now I'm on your side
Well,
trying to see your side now and see what side you playing on now when I'm saying this is my child. So what gives you the premise to tell me to do what to do with my child, just like the citizenship?
it's generally regarded that it is in the state's best interest to care for its citizens, and
A
particularly
presumption.
in particularly its younger citizens. In other words, its children. So therefore, the state has the authority to say if you are the parent of this child who does not have the means to take care of themselves, you are obligated to provide for them, and the state can establish minimum requirements of what that support is.
Right, but remember the first words come out your mouth is generally regarding. That's an assumption. That's not no fact.
I would say our precedent, our judicial precedent says so. Establishes that as a general rule and as the law and as a valid exercise of the state's power is to care for the well-being of its citizens, in particular children.
So at one point they can tell you what to do with yours, and at one point they can't. So where's this line drawn and assigned to you?
Naughty, let me go. Right
Hold
here,
on.
right here. Before he
Where
answers, let me go.
are you? Well, that is dependent on the state. The state, in cases where people challenge whether or not they have to pay support or the means of which they are able to pay support, they can file. They go into a court action. The court establishes an opinion.
So
Opinion gets
what I'm
appealed.
asking is, right, what I'm asking is, where do the line draw to you, the state giving you authority over yours? And where do
I
your
got.
line draw when you say yours don't have to be obligated and not seen as a birth under the state's authority?
Naughty, you got me shaking, bro.
What are you
I
talking
got the
about?
answer.
Wait,
See,
you're. What are you saying that the state?
listen, this is what he's saying right here. Check this out. If CPS come to my door and they say, "Hey, we need to come in and look at your kids," even if I got a screen door and they can see my kids and they can see my kids butt naked, I don't have to let you in. No, I don't. That's where the line gets drawn. The line gets drawn at your door. The moment you let them in, if you let them into your life at the school, because at the school they reached out and they reached to the state before they got home to you, that's where the line got drawn. But as long as they're at home, they can call whoever they want. They come to your door, hey, can we come in? Can we look at your house? No, no, the fuck you can't. And Artie, I feel you. I love you, bro. You passed the bar. I'm in Florida. I know somebody that passed the bar. I used to stay at his house, and he was the psychiatrist at the CPS place where all the children went. And he let me know, like, listen, if they come to your door, you don't have to let them in. You don't have to let them into your life at all. You can shut them out. But it's either how your children obligate themselves to the state or how you obligate yourselves. When you open that door, it's like a cop. Can I come in? No. Do you have a warrant? No, you can't come in. Well, we want to come look at how your baby's doing. Can I come in? No, nigga, you can't come in. You can't come in. Yeah,
Okay.
Cheerios and Cheetos all over the floor. You can't come in. That's the line.
Yeah, if you want that wasn't the question that he asked. My understanding was that he was asking about the general allowance that the state has in caring for the well-being of its citizens. And now, if you want to talk about specific aspects of whether or not CPS of each of these states can abuse their authority or abuse their power, that's an entirely separate question, and that's an entirely separate issue. But when it comes to the basic understanding that yes, the state does have the authority to say you are incapable of caring for your kid, and what that is called termination of parental rights. Now, that is a very, very, very difficult thing for the state to be able to do, because the state has also held, and the federal government has also held, that parenting is a fundamental right that can't be simply stripped away. So the standard of being able to terminate one's parental rights is extremely high, but it can be done. So that is the question to the basic answer. That is the answer to the basic question that he asked. Now regarding CPS and how they operate, we can have a pretty long discussion about whether or not CPS has abused their power in this and that instance, and what limits do they have in terms of when they hear a referral or they hear of some sort of anonymous tip, like, hey, this family's like, this father's beating his kid or something like that. We can have a discussion about that, but we're talking about. I was just talking about what the basic grants of authority the state has.
Right, and what I'm saying is, you're using a lot of legal jargon that maybe a lot don't understand, but you basically are saying that the CPS is the legal arm that has or doesn't have the right to be the authoritative of registrar, if you will, to represent the state. Because if the state was to reach out to you, they would use the branch of CPS. They wouldn't use the branch of police or FBI. They wouldn't use any other branch. The only stance that the state would use would be CPS.
Well,
and if CPS can't prove the case, if I don't let them in the house, if I don't lead them into my life, then they have no grounds. My child would have to break the law and then be involved with the system in order for them to get into my life, to abuse their rights, to abuse their authority. And
no, they were going.
Well, I don't know how it operates in Florida, but in New Jersey, establishing whether or not a parent has abused their kid or a parent loses their rights, that is a job of the deputy attorney generals here in New Jersey, by an actual prosecuting arm, and not by the agency. So I don't know how it operates in Florida, but that's how it operates here in New Jersey.
Right. I would agree.
No. If someone calls the CPS anywhere in America and tells them something about you did something to your children, they're gonna investigate that your kids' school, your children ask questions and come inside of your home to ask questions. They're gonna investigate. Then the state attorney general don't have nothing to do with that.
The CPS, the agency, will gather that evidence, but then in New Jersey, they will gather that evidence and investigation, then transfer it over to the DAG, who then makes the determination of whether or not, this is enough to prove in court. That's how it works in New Jersey.
Y'all both saying they're two different entities.
I'm saying that New Jersey has its own CPS called DCF. It used to be called DIFAS, but they changed their name. DCF is what is the equivalent of CPS of what they're saying. They are the state agency that investigates abuse and neglect instances or claims. Once they have that investigation, then they move they transfer the case to deputy attorneys general who are generally assigned to these cases, and then they actually prosecute it in family court. And it's ultimately up to a judge to determine whether or not there's a valid claim here.
What branch the family court fall up under, as far as the three branches?
The judiciary.
It can fall up under, it can fall up under anything, because I've seen family courts. That's why I'm in the chat right now. I've seen a family court case where a nigga beat the baby to death with a bat. He beat the baby to death with a bat. And they put it under family court. And now he going to court under family court. And everybody is just looking at him like, damn, so how are you in the pod? And everybody in the pod doing 20 years to life. But you in the pod and you going to family court?
Because
and all you got is a no contact? Like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. And then we find out,
when y'all say court, we're confusing the two. They're all a commercial transaction that you could.
Hell no! RootWords, don't you dare start with me on that. I'm going to end it on here. I am going to end it there because I can't. I gotta go, y'all. It's 12:30 at night. I got work.
Why is everything on money?
Artie though, vibe with me, dog. It's all a circuit. That's why they call it a system. The system work on a circuit. When you go to jail, you go to a circuit court. The circuit court puts you to an attorney. The attorney understands and listens to the argumentative case of the district attorney, which is representative of the state, which is against the criminal at the time, and it could be family court. Family court could be between mom and dad, or it could be dad against the state or mom against the state. That's still family court. So yes, he's still a criminal judge. He knows what criminal law is. I'm not going to take that from bro. He knows what that is, because a mom that's a drug addict could be in family court.
I'm well aware of that. I'm not disagreeing with you there.
No, he was giving you big ups. He was bigging you up right now. Yeah, I mean, later, man. Good build, bro. We're gonna have to build again sometime so I can show you some vibes about no law. No man that makes a certain type of money or have a certain type of bond is subjected under law. We're gonna talk about that one too one day.
Yeah, Artie, bro, we gotta talk again, bro. You a real one, dog. I really like you. I had no idea you was a lawyer, bro. Much respect. I'm about to join the Navy, my nigga, and they said I could get a bonus and be a nerd and play on computers. And you hear how I talk, you wouldn't even believe it, but they said I could play on computers. And I don't even want to be like a nuclear tech, because they gonna put me in a submarine. I ain't going underwater, nigga.
Well, that's what a lot of the branches do say. As someone who has parents who has served, they told me that they got the similar marketing thing there too. But I don't know if I would put a whole lot of what was it, confidence in that, where it's like, you just gotta, you'll be posted in this one little area, and you're just gonna play games all day. You be careful. Make sure you decide where you want to go.
You don't want nobody put a gun in your hand.
How you feel about Trump?
Give shout out to Artie's channel. He has his own channel.
Okay. How you feel about Trump?
He's a more hater, so.
Yeah, Artie, put your channel in the chat, bro. I'm finna subscribe, bro. I like you, bro. You all right.
Yes,
all right.
How do you feel about Trump?
I think he's a douchebag.
No, don't subscribe to Artie. I'm joking around. Always a good bill. Just whenever you get out.
He represents 12, so yeah, we might not have to.
I'm just saying that Artie. I ain't trying to say
Red Squid was catching stuff. Yeah, Red Squid, he can catch things.
Yeah, Artie, I'm gonna just start calling you 12, bro.
All right, you guys have a good night. See you later.
All right, champ.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I took the ASVAB long ago. I think before I even went to college. Anyway, I don't know why I do this to myself. It is 12:30 at night. I should be in bed. And here I am, tearing my hair out again. for y'all's enjoyment, apparently, because y'all love to see me tortured. Apparently, you're a bunch of masochists here. Anyway, sadists, whatever. Well, there you go. I know I've been pretty quiet on this channel, so I figured it's my day off from my usual stream, so I figured why not. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up joining these guys again. We'll see. I really do feel like these guys don't they don't have anybody out there that'll challenge them. They just go in, say X, Y, and Z. They never get challenged, and then they accept it as true. And when somebody calls them out saying, hey, where's your evidence? Hey, where's your citation? Hey, can you link me to the case that you're referring to, the statute that you're going to? You know, they kind of end up squirming. And then when push comes to shove, they're like, oh, well, you know, you do what's the usual thing? Do your own research, you know? Yeah. But, you know, you're the one making the claim. So, anyway. All right. Have a good night, guys. See ya.